Lots of people are about to get mad at me for this, including my fellow conservatives, but I'm telling you the truth. Stay tuned. What's up, guys? VinceDao here. Be sure to like and subscribe. So, we talked about this on stream the other night. I know not everyone wants to go back and watch those replays, so I figured we'd condense this down into video form. And simply put, that's my honest opinions on the whole Kanye West, Alex Jones interview. And beyond that, my thoughts on Kanye himself and how he's handled all of the things that have happened. I'm not going to beat around the bush. Here's the verdict. I thought the interview was funny. That's what I thought. It was a meme. It was hilarious and outrageous. Between the GIMP mask and the Netanyahu and the utter ridiculousness of everything, I thought this was like 2016 levels of meme culture. Something we had not seen on the internet basically since Alex Jones confronted Cenk Uygur at the RNC. And that's about all I thought about it. What else can you say about a literal guy in a GIMP mask?
What you want, then? Hey, yay, right after this, I'm gonna say you're crazy. I'm gonna take your family away from you. Also, we're in the pedophilia. Ha ha ha.
Whether it's performance art or not, it was entertainment. But there are people on both sides, specifically on both sides of the right, because screw the libtards, who cares about them, that are taking this way too seriously. On one hand, you have conservatives who are basically just being SJWs about this. They're saying, what Kanye said was deeply offensive and harmful and dangerous, and this is going to cause another Holocaust. And it's like, dude, come on. It's a black guy in a GIMP mask. Are you serious? And then on the other hand, you have the unironic Yay 24 supporters. The people who say that he's serious. The people who say he's really red-pilled the masses. The people who said the interview was a victory and he's going to be some type of serious force to push the Overton window and maybe even win the primary, according to some dude in my chat the other night. And it's like, dude, again, come on. It's a guy in a GIMP mask. Do you hear yourself? So today we're going to address both of those people because they're equally ridiculous, all right? So let's start with the people who say they're so offended, right? Like I said, do you guys hear yourselves? You make fun of the left for getting offended at stuff, and then you pretend like some black guy in a GIMP mask spurging is some type of dangerous, crazy threat. It's just victim mentality. Folks, it's not that big of a deal. It's really not that deep. You guys really sound no different from leftists, okay? You really think that guy of all people is going to initiate Holocaust too? You are pretending to be deeply outraged and offended by a guy in a GIMP mask? But on the other hand, to the people taking the Yay 24 stuff seriously, which are mainly groypers, but not exclusively, I see some like weird black nationalist types doing the exact same thing. How can you look at that interview and say that was a net positive for your guy or the message you are trying to push? And let me say this in a language that you will understand, okay? So I'm not going to do the whole moral outrage thing because I know you won't respond to that. But seriously, whether you want Kanye to win or just push Trump to the right, how in the world is Kanye going to do that? The truth is that outside your little feedback loop of based and red-pilled kids, the entire civilized world has written off Kanye as a lunatic after that interview. And you might say, oh, but the media would do that anyway. Sure, that's true, but I'm not talking about the media. I'm not even talking about myself, really. I'm talking about the main Republican constituency, which is like people over 35, right? You know, the voters you're supposedly trying to convince. And on that front, let's start with the obvious, the Hitler stuff, okay? Again, I know you edgy right-wing kids celebrated that because, I don't know, you like being edgy. But again, speaking in a language that you understand, what does the Republican constituency think of that? Again, the voters we just mentioned? Nobody in America likes Hitler, but the conservative constituency specifically sees World War II as the greatest victory in the history of American civilization, okay? Most boomers and Gen X see it that way. Most of them have parents and grandparents who fought in Fortress Europe. Even I have that, and I don't exactly look like a legacy American, do I? So, do you think they're going to be persuaded by those comments? Or do you think they're going to immediately discredit you and outright despise you? Think with your head for a second. Even if other things that Kanye said in that interview were true, even if other things Kanye said maybe hypothetically could be convincing to boomers, those comments alone discredit him entirely. Why? Because, again, outside of your little niche sphere of the internet, this is how everyone in the conservative base thinks. What better example than Alex Jones? He's one of the furthest right people in the movement, and even he was pushing back hard against the Hitler stuff. Especially because why? What did I say? His grandfather fought in World War II or whatever? Yeah. And when you look at the demographics of the Republican Party, what do you find? Yeah, that's probably most Republican voters. Hello, McFly? Even Nick Fuentes, of all people, got his start back in 2017 criticizing the alt-right, and that's how that whole movement started. I know it's been wiped because of deplatforming, but if you could somehow go back and look, I'm sure they're out there somewhere. He literally started that movement by criticizing Richard Spencer and saying that the Hitler LARPing is cringe, Heil Trump was a disaster, you talk about the Holocaust too much, and we need a viable movement with optics. Okay, that's why it was called the Optics Wars. Now, I don't like Nick Fuentes. That's pretty well known. I know he's all in for Kanye now. I'm just bringing this up to show how far this thing has slidden off the rails. I get it. You think you're edgy or whatever, but how fringe and unpopular that idea is. Again, hopefully spoken in a language that you people can understand, right? And even if you want to say, Vince, those Hitler comments were kind of out of context. Yeah, doesn't matter. People saw what they saw. That's why you have to articulate ideas precisely. And that's what a serious and viable political leader would do instead of just destroying himself every time he speaks. Just saying. And beyond the comments, let's just talk about the optics of the entire interview, as I'm going to reiterate. He showed up in a GIMP mask. A GIMP mask. I couldn't take him seriously because I couldn't stop laughing. Okay? But what is most of the Republican base over 35 saying? Well, I've seen the comments on social media. I made a point to read them. They literally all think he's a lunatic. Okay? And I know his supporters always make excuses for him and constantly insist he's just some type of high-octane genius. And no, that's just Kanye being Kanye, bro. You just don't get it. Okay, again, you might think that's based and red-pilled, but teenage kids on Discord are not a significant constituency of the Republican Party. The rest of the real Republican constituency simply sees him as a lunatic. That's what they all think. Oh, but didn't they say that about Trump in 2016? Yeah, the media did. Like I said in the beginning of this video, this is not about what liberal media has to say. This is about Republican voters and potential Kanye supporters. And the difference between Kanye and Donald Trump in 2016 is that Donald Trump actually made sense and spoke to Republican voters. So when Trump said, Chevrolet in Tokyo, they're not sending their best. Yeah, the media wrote that off as crazy. But to the Midwestern working class father who watched his farm town get overrun by migrant workers or his factory closed to globalism, Donald Trump made perfect sense. Kanye West in a GIMP mask screaming about Jews does not make sense. That is not relatable to the disaffected Republican voter. That is not relatable to the people that Donald Trump won over in 2016. It is not relatable to anyone. You see how this is not just about what liberal media has to say? Because sure, they have been calling Kanye crazy since 2018. But before you say, oh, well, everyone has always said he's crazy, so what difference does it make? Not true. There are so many Republican boomers out there who have defended Kanye for years, and you and I both know that. They defended him in the MAGA hat, they defended White Lives Matter, and a lot of them even defended some of the more recent controversies. But none of them are defending the Hitler comments or this interview. Kanye West has officially lost the hearts and minds of basically everyone who would potentially matter. You see how that works? And just one thing to add on top of that, the dude literally wore a Balenciaga mask. A Balenciaga mask. Again, I know what his defenders will say. Oh, it was supposed to be a shot at Kim. It was this statement or whatever. That doesn't matter. How are most people going to perceive that? Specifically, the more further right Republicans. Because you think with everything Kanye has been saying, he's not making an appeal to the center. He's making an appeal to like the super Trumpian Q people, right? Well, how do you think your average schizo Q boomer views that? Do you think they are going to agree and understand the complicated, epic fashion statement Kanye is making? Or do you think seeing a Balenciaga mask would confirm in their eyes that Kanye is a plant working for Hollywood and the pedophiles and the New World Order? Use your head, kids. And most importantly, because you guys say you're moving Trump to the right, how do you think Donald Trump perceives any of this? Do you think he's taking Kanye West as some type of serious figure he has to listen to? Or do you think, like everyone else, he thinks Kanye West is insane and is trying to actually get as far away from him as possible? Again, use your head. You have a brain, I think. Try and use it. You know, I'm trying to be as rational as I can. Again, I'm trying to explain this to you in terms that you people understand. But if you don't get it at this point, I don't know. I'll pray for you, okay? That's all I can say. It's a joke. The entire thing is a joke. You can either laugh at that joke, which I did, which many people did, which many of our fans did, or you can become the joke by taking that joke way too seriously. One last thing. Milo Yiannopoulos, who is Kanye's campaign manager, he's the one who set Kanye up with Fuentes and engineered all of this recent stuff, announced today, this is breaking news, that he will be resigning from the Kanye team after a mutual agreement. You read the statement, clearly something happened there, but it's after 2 weeks. 2 weeks. So think of that what you will. As I've alluded to in the past, Milo is an incredibly shady individual. He's a serial blackmailer and grifter, but I'm just presenting to you that information. Think of that what you will. Totally not imploding though, right? Right? All right, guys, that'll do it here today. Thank you very much for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. If you are new and you like the video and you like the content, be sure to check out the links in the description, buy the merch, become a member, follow me on social media. I don't plug that enough. Follow my links, social media in the description. And until next time, Alpha Moves Only, God bless and peace.